You ready to do this, Matt?
Yes, sir. Punch it, Chewbacca.
Welcome, super friends, to the Fortress of Nerditude podcast, a safe place to talk about all things in nerd and pop culture. I'm Spencer Stapleton, and my co-pilot is Matt Shaw. We're two nerds that just refuse to grow up. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 197. We release every Thursday morning. You can find us at our website, fortofnerd.com. We have links to iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and everywhere podcasts are available. Stop by and relax a while. If you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button and get us automatically each and every week in your ear holes. Matt, before we even get into how our week was, before we even do that, I want to talk about episode 200.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Right up front, I want to drop a little information. We can talk about it real briefly, but I want the super friends to know what we're kind of planning, what we kind of have in the works. So, for episode 200, we're going to change things up a little bit. The podcast will always still remain the podcast. It will still always, forever, be free and available in audio format every week on Thursday. But, starting with episode 200, we are going to now start recording the podcast live on Twitch on Monday nights.
Woo!
Yay! Episode
you can see what we look like.
That's right. You can see the beard and all.
Yes.
So, starting with 200, we're going to start doing this live on Twitch on Monday nights. Does that cost you money? Absolutely not. Never, ever, ever. What does it require? It requires you to log into Twitch and to watch. Do you have to? No, of course not. You can still listen Thursday mornings when we release the podcast. But if you want, if you're available, if you want to see us recording the podcast on Monday nights, or sometimes we may have to move it around a little bit, you want to see us and you want to kind of be there when we do that, you have that option, and we're going to give you that option. As well, going forward, starting with episode 200, we push the audio of the podcast over to YouTube. We're going to stop that. Instead, we're going to push over the video of it over to YouTube on Thursday mornings. So if before you just listen to it through YouTube, you can still do that, but you'll also have the option to watch us at the same time.
Nice.
So, big change. It's going to be something different. It's something I've thought about and you and I have talked about for a while. And we decided to bite the bullet and kind of make it a thing. So that's 200. 200 will be live. We will be recording it, video and all, in just a few weeks. So that's the first thing about 200. Second thing, super friends, this is your opportunity to ask us questions. From the moment this podcast release up until the night that we record for episode 200, we want to hear from you. We want to answer your questions this time around. So if you have questions for us, I don't care what it is. If it's crazy, if it's weird, if it's wacky, if it's about the podcast, if it's about things in nerd and pop culture, we're good with all of that. And the only thing is that obviously this is a family-friendly podcast. Anything that's not family-friendly or that would get us into a place where we would have to, admit to crimes committed in the past, none of that stuff will make it onto the podcast. That I promise you. But if you want to include the hashtag FON200 onto any tweets or Facebook posts or Instagram posts back to us or anything, you can do that. Or you can send us emails. I just want to make sure that I have some way of collecting and grabbing these things because I would hate to miss it. So we want to hear from you. we want your questions. Maybe you want to know a little bit more about Matt.
Yeah,
maybe
there's
you
a
want
lot
bit
that you don't know.
More about his obsession with Hello Kitty. I don't know. You can ask him. He will tell you about it.
I will tell you about it. It'll be about 2 seconds long. I'll say, it's a little cute cat.
You never know. You never know. And then the other thing is, and we've talked about this a little bit, but we've started up our Discord again. We have a Discord server. I'm going to make sure that I include the link to the Discord server this week in the show notes. And then going forward every week after that, there will be a link to the Discord server over in the show notes as well. I will put it up on the social medias this week. I'm going to write a little message to remind myself because that's where we want to carry on these conversations. So if we're talking about something like last week when we were talking about the DC fandom, and there's something more you wanted to ask us or that you thought would be cool to talk about, there's a place for that. And we want to continue and carry on those conversations and continue to bring super friends together in ways that maybe we haven't done so well at in the last almost 200 episodes.
Very
so
cool.
Those are the things we're letting you know about now. There might be a thing or two we talk about at 200 that we might surprise you with.
Oh yeah,
just a little out there. So anyway,
awesome.
That's what's happening. That's the plan for 200. We really hope that you can be with us live. We're gonna make this fun. It's gonna be ridiculous. But all that being said, we're looking forward to all that. But Matt, tonight, how are you doing? What's going on with your week this last week?
Man, I'm doing well. It's it has been eventful, but not eventful at the same time. And I say that because our kitchen is being torn apart.
Oh, yeah. You started the remodel, right?
Yeah. So they came by on anyway, everything got moved up. It all happened really, really fast. But it took 3 days for all of the removal and the measuring and the different people to come in and out of our house. So we had to stay home a lot because time frames are 4 or 5 hours long. We'll be by between. I don't really want you in my house while I'm not there. So it was a lot of staying home this week and getting out a little bit to, Target when we can. Eating out because we don't have a kitchen and no way to clean our dishes right now, but that all gets remedied tomorrow. So they put in the countertops today. It looks fantastic. We love it. Cool. So that's been really, really fun. That's kind of our big thing right now. And then we here at the Shaw House, we love Halloween, a lot. It's easy second favorite holiday for me, and I think for Jesse as well, probably. And it's super fun when you have kids, and they know and get excited about it, and their costumes and all that jazz. So the day the Halloween store opens, the Spirit Halloween store, which everyone's got in their town, the day that thing opens, we're there. So we showed up. Emmy loves it. She talks about it all. She was talking about it all this year every time we talk about Halloween and stepping on the triggers for the animatronic scary stuff.
Yeah,
and she's fearless, man. Always has been. Just a fearless kid. Every ride, she sees roller coasters at SeaWorld and she's like, can I go on that? I'm like, well, no, you're 6 inches tall, honey. You're the smallest child in the world. You're never going to be able to ride that until you're 15 years old. But she's just fearless. So she goes in there and a little bit nervous at first, but then she's stepping on all of them and just having a ball. So that was a fun event. Lando loved it too. He just sits in his stroller and he's so chill when we go places. It's nice. But Emmy's already got her Halloween costume and she's got it all figured out. Little Lando has his. I know I recently talked about how Emmy loves The Incredibles now. Yeah. And all she does is she pretends she's a superhero and she talks about it with her little toys that she plays with and a superhero this, superhero that, Incredibles, blah, blah, blah. So she's got her Violet costume.
And you know what we call that, right, Matt?
Tell me.
Good parenting.
Yes. It's good parenting. I like to think that. I can thank Jesse for that one. So So she's got her costume as Violet. We bought Lando like incredible pajamas. And so he's Jack, and she wants, obviously us to be part of it as well. And so we'll see what that ends up looking
Jesse
like.
has to go as
Elastigirl,
and you have to go as Frozone, correct?
Yeah, it's changed.
Okay.
Or it's changing, I should say. Because it was definitely Frozone. Like, I had to be Frozone. But now she's starting to realize, after she's interacted with the toys enough, she's like, well, that's their dad. So it makes sense that my dad would be the dad. And not Samuel L. Jackson's character, Frozone.
Yes.
He's like a nice uncle. So that doesn't really make sense. Anyway, so she's excited. We're all excited. We just freaking love Halloween here. And so starting tomorrow, which as you record this will be September 1st, we begin our festivities of Halloween trinkets and, I don't know, fun movies that Emmy will watch this year. That's right, man. Anyway, so that was our week. It was great.
That's so cool. I love Halloween, but nowhere near as much as you guys do.
Yeah, we love it, man. We just freaking love it.
I've been considering, it's like we don't put up a lot of Halloween decorations. I kind of play this game with Brita, which I'm playing with fire. And I talk about this every year around Christmas time, but I always say, like, listen, if you want Christmas decorations, we got to spend like the $4,000 to get the thing that syncs up all your lights with music and plays and And then she's like, I don't want to spend that kind of money. And then she backs off and I'm good. Although I put up Christmas lights this year, so I don't know how good I am. I think she's slowly wearing me down. Anyway, with Halloween, squirrel. With Halloween, we don't put up a lot. Like, we usually do a pumpkin and maybe a couple stickers in the window or something. That's it. But last year, I found that there's like this DVD that you can play that'll do like talking pumpkins and animated their mouths and their eyes, and they'll sing along to stuff. And you just have to have a projector, and you project it onto some pumpkins on your porch or in your window or something. And I'm thinking maybe I'll go do that, and then I can set up some speakers and run it from inside the house. But then, I just have to figure out how to like hide the projector outside, so like it's not going to be like obvious. And I was like, okay, well, the obvious thing is make a couple like tombstones to put in the front yard and then hide it behind a tombstone.
Yeah, pull a Disney, hide it in a rock, something like that.
Yep, something like that. So I'm looking into that, seeing what can be done and something a little different, because the boys are kind of getting to that age where they really like the interactive stuff. So I'm not Shaw household. To quote you, I'm a simple man. And I don't get all that crazy, but still, pretty cool. Speaking of being a simple man, I think you're going to find this funny. On our Discord, just yesterday, there was one of our super friends, and it is Lord Zukor, and he was saying when we're going to get a Fortress of Nerditude shirt that says, I'm a simple man. I thought you would get a kick out of that. That is the appropriate response I was looking for. Thank you very much.
Hey, you request it, we'll make it, man.
That just
I'm
came.
a simple man.
That just came to my my brain as I was thinking about that. Anyway, so my week. Last week was the first week of school. Kids only went 2 days because they're this hybrid and it's early out. And we're taking our kids back to daycare. We kind of made the decision that we're going to drop them off at daycare in the mornings like we used to on school days. And they will eat breakfast there, and then they take them to school, and then they pick them up from school. And then like an hour later, I'm picking them up. Yeah. At the end of my workday. And then as we've kind of like been talking, we're kind of like, should we take them on the off days when they don't have a lot of schoolwork? We don't exactly know what that's going to look like yet, with how much daycare is going to be like helping or allowing to help, or what they can help. And so this last week, because there was no schooling on their off days, we decided to take them. The boys actually went today as well. And they have fun. I mean, it's, they play, they have fun, they do things, they draw things and whatnot. And they're being as safe as they possibly can there. But of course, like, we've been really cautious with all the COVID stuff. And I kind of got to this point where Breed and I were talking, it's like, well, if we're taking the kids to school, the likelihood they're going to get, exposed to someone who has it is probably higher at school than daycare. Or maybe even just the same, because there's less kids that they can have at the daycare center than obviously at school at any one given time. And they're kind of separated into rooms, and so we don't really know kind of how all that's going to look. We may do kind of a hybrid on the home learn from home days where, like, maybe we take them and we leave them there till like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then we pull them home because they're going to have anywhere from like an hour to 2 hours of schoolwork at their age, like review stuff. So
yeah,
we're trying to figure that out. It's a fun time to be a parent of school-aged children.
Yeah.
So there's that. We're kind of doing. In some interesting news in my family, we did reading time tonight. We have to do 20 minutes of reading with the boys every night. And Charlie's really becoming quite the little reader. I mean, he's just starting 2nd grade. He's 7. He'll be 8 in December. But sometimes if he reads a book that he hasn't read before or doesn't know, like, he wanted to read Green Eggs and Ham tonight. And he literally just skipped through the book because he's heard it so many times.
Yeah.
He knows it. So I grabbed one of those little golden books, and it was The Empire Strikes Back.
Nice.
And I said, okay, I will help you with the hard words, but you need to sound it out. You need to work on it. You kind of need to do your thing. And he kind of threw a bit of a fit, and I kind of had to get after him a little bit. And like, we're not leaving till we're done. Like, this is, we're not giving up. You need to sound out words, whatever. And so, of course, he struggled with words like empire, imperial, tauntaun, Dagobah, stuff like that. But then, and I kind of expected that. And I kind of helped him and would help him kind of sound it out and kind of help give him some of those words. Because like, come on, no kid is going to look at the spelling of the word tauntaun at 7 and figure,
right.
I knew what that was called at 7 because I had seen the movies a bunch. Yeah. I didn't know how to spell that until I was maybe in my teenage years. So, like, I'm not, I'm giving him a pass. But what surprised me, though, was, like, he was, like, reading words like overrun and snow speeder and Hoth and Darth Vader, like, words that, like, I would have been like, he might struggle. But, like, there was a lot of words he just was like, boom, boom, boom. I was really impressed. I was like, oh, my kid may be smart after all. We may get one. So anyway, it was a lot of fun reading with him once we kind of got going. The beginning was a little, shall we say, rough. I mean, my chair's fixed.
Yeah, I was going to say.
My chair is fixed. I got the new gas piston, and of course I could not get it off. The old one I could not get off. I had worked at that thing and was wrenched on it. Finally, I put to Facebook to the neighborhood group, and I was like, does anyone have a pipe wrench? Does anyone just have a pipe wrench? That's what I really need. And a neighbor just like 2 houses down was like, yeah, I've got one. Come over and get it. I put the pipe wrench on. 10 seconds later, that thing was free after I'd struggled with it for probably like 3 hours. I'm like, so I have a pipe wrench added to my list of tools that I need to purchase along the way because, I'm anticipating that I'll need to fix this again at some point.
Sure.
Let's see. What else? We watched some stuff this week. We watched Bill and Ted 3, Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Oh, you did?
We did. I purchased that on VOD. I will say this. It is fun. It is irreverent. It feels very much like it belongs with the other two. It kind of keeps some of the charm of those movies that just, ridiculous situations, just silly, fun time travel, that it doesn't take itself too seriously. And while I didn't love every aspect of it, like, I would give it a solid B.
Nice.
I would give it a solid
B. That's great.
B.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy it. So we watched that. We watched the Netflix documentary called High Score, which is kind of about the history of video games. That's definitely worth a watch. If you don't know a lot about the video game history and like how the video game industry came to be and whatnot, I would recommend it. It's actually really interesting. Unfortunately, I know a lot of this stuff, so there was like big chunks that I was like, yeah. Right. I know Nolan Bushnell's, story and how he, founded Atari and what happened and like I knew that. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of cool because they talk about things about like how, Atari and console games and games in the arcades and how they transitioned and how, role-playing games, like Dungeons and Dragons, like became role-playing games in the computer world and then, home consoles and they talk about violence in video games and like the controversy with like Mortal Kombat and Night Trap back in the early 90s and how like Congress got involved and that's how we got the ESRB. So there's a lot of really good things and it was fun and they interviewed a whole bunch of people. So that was fun. We're watching the first season of The Umbrella Academy. I think we're in the 4th episode of the first season, or maybe we've just finished the 4th and we're in the 5th episode.
Very slow progress over the last 3 weeks.
Yes. Partially that's because I don't have a lot of free time to watch a lot of TV. Yeah. And when I do, it's usually like late at night. And if the show's kind of slow, I fall asleep. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, Umbrella Academy in this first season, it's kind of slow. Like, for it being a kind of a superhero-themed kind of show, I was anticipating more of the Batman, so to speak. The out on the streets, fighting crime, doing things. This is more of like the Bruce Wayne sitting around Wayne Manor, where like it's more talking about things they've done in the past or what happened or like the interactions with their father and like their psychoses. It's more of a, at least in this so far where we're at in the first season, it's more of kind of like a cerebral experience about what it's like having abilities and powers. And while I find that interesting, late at night, it puts me to sleep. So I've been struggling to get through that. I'm hoping to watch a little bit more tonight after we record. Because everyone says like it starts picking up towards the end of the first season, starts picking up, and then the second season, like things really start moving forward. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's 10 episodes. Like I'll get to the second season, but currently as it stands, yeah, I'm kind of just eking my way through it. But a big part of that's also because all I'm doing right now, Matt, is streaming Fall Guys and playing Fall Guys on Twitch. I mean, today, after work, I knocked my 56th win.
Oh my gosh.
In Fall Guys. On Friday night, when I was streaming over on Twitch, twitch.tv/FordofNerd79, go give a follow. Super friends, I'd appreciate it. I was like, okay, I'm going to go for 5 wins in a row. It's the only trophy I need. I ended up getting 11 wins that night. 11 in a single night. And the most I ever put together in 2 little stints was 2 wins back to back.
Oh, man.
Just the way, like, I had 2 wins, and then I lost in a finale by a split, like literally a split second. And then the next match I won. So if like that split second would have been the other way, I could have had 4 in a row and then been playing for a 5th. Anyway, the game is addicting. It's fun. It's just so like the one more syndrome. Just one more game. I could just play one more. It's quick. It gets its hooks in you. It's so much fun. Anyway, I did a lot of that this last week.
Love
and
it.
By a lot I mean like I'm dreaming of this game now in my sleep, thinking maybe if I go up the left side partway through the map, then I switch to the center lane and eventually work my way to the right, I'll lose a split second or two of time, but I'll have a cleaner, safer run, which will give me more looks at the crown to win the thing at the end. And I'm like, okay, this may be a problem. Like I'm min-maxing on strategy. I'm like looking for, like today I found something this evening. I was like, ooh, I can get up here. It's not cheating. Can they grab my tail? I don't know. Like, I've got to test this. If they can't grab my tail, am I safe? Is that a good spot? Anyway, it's like stuff like that that's been consuming my brain power the last week or so. So much that a coworker over the weekend sent me a little video of a clip of Fall Guys where they take out all the little cutesy like ooh ah ooh sounds when they fall to a whole bunch of humans screaming from like movies and stuff. And that was terrifying yet extremely satisfying at the same time. So
oh my gosh.
Anyway, it's just Fall Guys. It's all Fall Guys all the time right now. But eventually I'm going to get back to other video games to stream. But right now, I just love bumbling and stumbling around as a little jelly bean. What can I say?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Anyway, that's me. That's my week. Matt, I think it's time we kill some Bothans.
Let's do it.
I always have to let you know, many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Rest in peace, you Bothans.
All right, Matt, we have sacrificed Bothans once again on the Rebel intelligence altar. What do you have for me this week?
All right, so fresh news as of recording this podcast. We'll start out with some PlayStation 5 news.
Oh, yes,
so this comes from Ubisoft support page in their Q&A section when asking about backwards compatibility, specifically with Sony's console.
Okay.
So this was the quote that was reported by somebody on Twitter, an alleged, famous leaker, Wario64, and then confirmed by news sources that the quote says backwards compatibility will be available for supported PlayStation 4 titles, but will not be possible for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, or PlayStation games. So it's since been taken down, and it no longer mentions anything about backward compatibility. However, I mean, it's been a murky subject for PlayStation. They haven't really told us. They say there should be hundreds of, maybe thousands of PlayStation 4 games, but they don't make mention of any of the earlier PlayStation consoles and whether or not you'll be able to play those games. So this to me points to it's not going to happen.
That makes
it's not
sense.
Possible. Yeah, okay, it makes sense to me too.
Yeah, the hardware architecture and the game design from the PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4 was drastically different. So much that they decided that it would be too cumbersome, too expensive to make PS3 games backwards compatible so that you could play them on their PS4. Now, the 3 was backwards compatible with the 2 and the 1, but since the 4, you couldn't do 3, 2, or 1 on the PS4. So to me, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I see that. I'm glad that it looks like they'll have backwards compatibility for the PS4, because the architecture should be roughly the same. Mm-hmm. And I have a massive catalog of PS4 games, and with PS Plus, you can download all these games, and so I would imagine that they would want to make sure that any game that you can download digitally from their store, you would be able to play on your PS5. That would make sense. I get the PS3, the PS2, the PS1, but also some of those games have been made available. Teams have worked to make them compatible with the PS4. So some of those games may have already been converted so that they can work on the PS4 and may be available digitally in the store. And then the other thing is they also have that service, I think it's called PS Now, that lets you play from the cloud, PS3, PS2 games. So
yes.
So I think maybe their bases are covered. I'm okay as long as it's backwards compatible to the PS4. If you can't play 3, 2, and 1, I'm personally okay with that. I know there's people that probably want it. I can live without it. If they made PS4 not backwards compatible, that I would have a big problem with.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that at this point, I don't know that matters that much.
Yeah. I got you.
So that's the news. Not confirmed by Sony or anything, but it sounds like it, and it makes perfect sense to me.
I mean, the fact that Ubisoft's the one kind of like breaking that news, and you said it was on like a forum post or a question and answer?
Yeah, like the Q&A on their support page. It was on an official like Ubisoft page.
I don't know. We're going to have to wait till sometime around holiday season to probably truly find out. But once again, I'm saying like late November, like, the week before Thanksgiving. But
yep,
we shall see. Okay, Matt, something I have for you. You may have seen this. You may not have seen this. I hope you haven't, because this, to me, screams you all over this thing.
Oh. I don't know if I should be offended yet.
No. Maybe. Just hold your offense until we get into it.
Okay.
And then you can tell me. Netflix has got this trailer for a new movie that's coming out called Julie and the Phantoms. And
yes.
Julie... Okay. So the reason this made me think of you is that the person that did like Hocus Pocus and The Descendants, his name is Kenny Ortega. He's doing this movie for Netflix called Julie and the Phantoms. And it's basically like a teen show about a young woman who's going to learn to find her voice again after a family tragedy. And she's going to play in a band. And I was like, this kind of reminds me of High School Musical, the series, the musical, the series, the musical, the series, the musical part 3 that you're in love with.
Yes, absolutely I am.
And I figured that the HSTS part 3...
Yep. Oh, yeah.
That if that's your bag, something like this, Julie and the Phantoms, where she joins a band, her mother's died, she's trying to,
Sounds amazing.
It sounds like this is going to be up your alley.
Yeah, I'm in.
But wait.
Okay.
Oh, wait. There is more. It turns out that her bandmates are ghosts. Ghosts, Matt.
Well, I'm in. Like, this is obvious.
And not only are they ghosts, but they're ghosts from the 90s, 30 years ago. Oh my
gosh.
And they have unfinished business. And one of these ghost boys looks like he's going to fall in love with Julie. But of course,
ghost love story?
But of course, they can't be together because she's real and he's a ghost. So we're going to have a ghost love story in a band with ghosts. And it's going to feel like a High School Musical movie. It's Netflix. It screams Matt Shaw to me 1,000%.
We'll watch. We'll do a movie club on it. You can count on it. On my own personal podcast.
The way you said that, like my face, I'm like, and I'm glad we're not doing video till episode 200, because I was like, wait, what? What are we doing now? Hey, if you want to choose this as one of your picks for a movie club, then by all means we will do that. But I'm going to let you know, that feels a little cruel and unusual, man. I think there's laws in places to protect me for that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
No, I'm dead serious. If you want to watch it, I'll watch this. I don't know that. I got to be careful because I feel like I'm already pre-biased not to think highly of this.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You go in with low expectations and be blown away. It could happen.
All right, Julie and the Phantoms, Netflix, and this thing is coming out September 10th.
Ooh, soon.
So soon.
Nice.
Soon.
Cool.
Just in time for Halloween.
I love it. So here's something that's coming out not as soon. This is coming out in March of 2021. It's supposed to be coming out in November, but like everything else, it's been pushed back.
Yeah.
The next Disney animated, they call it an epic, is called Raya and the Last Dragon. And we don't have a ton of information. This was kind of revealed with some like concept-y artwork at D23 last year. However, the main heroine's voice was to be voiced by Degrassi, the Next Generation's Cassie Steele. If you don't know about Degrassi, the Next Generation, you need to just...
Cassie Steele.
Yeah, you're under a rock, man. Yeah. Cassie's great. No, not to make fun of Cassie because I don't know anything about her, but she's in Degrassi, so that can't be good. Anyway.
I'm living under granite over here, Matt.
Long story short, they have recast the voice actor.
Okay.
And the wonderful Kelly Marie Tran will now be voicing the main heroine. And
that's
she was Rose.
Yeah, Rose Tico from
Tico in The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
Good.
So, it's kind of an interesting story. I'd like to know what happened behind the scenes because they were confident enough to announce who the voice actor was, and then they changed it. So that's kind of interesting. I'm curious what happened behind the scenes with Degrassi. I mean, Degrassi's, dramatic, so it could have been some real drama back there. I don't know.
Can I say...
Or she could have had another commitment because COVID kind of messed up the time frame. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, from a very personal human level, this actually, besides all the drama that happened prior with the Degrassi stuff, which I don't understand or know about.
Yeah.
The fact that Kelly Marie Tran, who played Rose Tico, is continuing to do something in the industry makes me really, really, really happy, because I really liked her portrayal of that character Rose Tico in The Last Jedi.
Right.
But I thought that the writing for her character and what they did story-wise with her, which had nothing to do with how she portrayed the character, was just kind of a waste. And she got so much hate from a very toxic part of the fandom that I know she was considering not acting anymore, not doing anything in the industry, that she just kind of didn't want to have anything associated with Star Wars because she was treated so poorly by people that I just hated it. I hated it so bad. It's okay. Yeah. I may not like what they did with the story. I may not like the fact that I think that they tried to ruin Luke Skywalker and what I think of that character. But I don't think Mark Hamill's a bad guy. I'm not going to go after Mark Hamill personally. Yeah. So to hear that she is still doing something in the industry, A, makes me happy. B, the fact that she's going to be voicing the lead in a new Disney animated epic. Gosh, I really love that. I hope that just does amazing. I hope she has a wonderful experience. I hope that it becomes a very positive thing for her, because she seems like a wonderful, decent human being, and I wish her all the best.
Wow. Look at that statement, everyone.
Dude, I can be a cold-hearted man sometimes, but when I saw how she was mistreated after The Last Jedi came out,
I agree.
It broke me. There was something physically inside of me that just felt broken, and I went I've been a lifelong Star Wars fan. I've been part of that fandom for so long, and I was I don't want to associate with people like this. People that I don't.
It's that vocal minority. They're always going to be loud and mean, and it's sad. And you're right. I feel I'm happy that she's still doing it. I mean, of course, it's not her fault.
No, not at all.
Rose sucks. Let's just be honest. Her character's terrible, and everybody knows that. But it's not her fault.
It's not hers.
And
no,
certainly shouldn't attack her.
Yes.
My gosh, what is wrong with you people? So I'm glad for her. I'm glad that she gets to play somebody different, that I can hopefully wrap my mind around. This is not Rose, because I can't stand Rose.
I'm going to guarantee you're not even going to think of Rose. Of Rose Tico in this.
No. So good for her. I'm excited for her. She's the first South Asian lead ever for a Disney princess or a Disney character. So pretty cool. So
cool.
Anyway,
I like that. I'm actually, Matt, going to stay with Disney here a little bit.
Okay.
Do you remember, let's go wind the clock back to 2003.
Okay, yeah.
There was a film by Eddie Murphy called The Haunted Mansion.
Oh, gosh.
It was supposed to be a movie kind of based off the Disney ride.
Yeah.
Kind of similar with what Pirates of the Caribbean did, and, we all kind of know what that did. Anyway, that was a huge, tremendous flop. That film did poorly on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's so bad.
It's a 14% review. It was not good. Not good at all. Well, Disney has tried to resurrect the idea of making a Haunted Mansion movie a number of times since 2003. And matter of fact, they tried about 999 times.
Oh, gosh.
And maybe the 1000th time will be the time, Matt.
Let's hope.
But Disney's hired writer Kate Dippold, and she's going to pen a new script based on the ride about a spooky mansion in which 999 ghosts reside, and you may be number 1000. So there's the little reference to the inside, the Disney ride, but Dippold had previously written for Mad TV and Parks and Recreation, so she's got some comedic chops right there. And then she also wrote for The Heat and the Ghostbusters Answer the Call. She was involved with that as well. Which, according to some people, they say those movies did a good job of trying to balance comedy and humor. I can't speak to the Ghostbusters Answer the Call. I haven't seen it. But anyway, the producers who did the live-action Aladdin remake are also on board with this thing.
Oh, awesome. That's great news. Aladdin was, underrated Aladdin live action. My favorite of the live actions they've done. It's like legit. It adds like just enough new stuff where it doesn't ruin anything, and it gives like a cool, it's great. I'm all in. I'm all in. Now I'm stoked for this movie.
Really?
I'm already stoked. And the Haunted Mansion is my favorite Disney ride, so that obviously also lends itself to my likings.
See, I like the Haunted Mansion ride. It's fun. Madame Leota, hitchhiking ghosts, like all the things in it. Like it's fun. But for me, it's Peter Pan, and that's nostalgia. And there'll never be a movie based on the Peter Pan ride at Disneyland, because we had a movie. It was called Peter Pan.
Yes.
Which I'm sure at some point we're going to get a live action remake of that.
I think we already are. I think they've already announced it.
Who knows? I'm sure they have.
Probably.
We've probably talked about it ad nauseum, but I'm just like,
yeah, who knows anymore?
Anyway, so we'll see. I mean, obviously this is still pretty early, but a Haunted Mansion, I mean, let's be honest. I had no expectation that freaking Pirates of the Caribbean was going to be anything. Yeah. And they made it into something great. So maybe this has got a chance. Who knows?
Yeah, man. I think it's such a cool... Anyway, I don't have to talk about this forever. I like scary stuff. All right. So
See, my next... I'm a simple man, Matt.
You are a simple man. This next one, I'm just going to say it. We've been following this for weeks. Apple versus Epic.
Oh, yeah.
So Apple has done what they said they were going to do, and they've completely removed Epic Games' app developer account. So they no longer even have an account. All their games are gone. No further updates for Fortnite. That's done.
So it's getting intense is what you're saying. It's
oh, yeah.
This is getting real.
It's getting even more intense than it already was. And it seems that, to me, the articles that I read, what judges have already said, it makes me believe that this is just bad for Epic Games. It's just bad for them. It's, not a great place to be.
I'd like to say that I feel bad for either one of the two companies, but I really don't. Those companies got, billions of dollars probably in the bank. I feel bad for the kids that are on iOS devices that play Fortnite on iOS devices.
Right.
Because they're the ones that are going to lose in this contest of wills between these two large companies.
Yep. I mean, I don't know. It's very, very interesting, and we don't want to get involved in the legalities and all of that stuff. But I mean, to me, this is Epic getting greedy. That's at least in my mind. Like, these are Apple's terms. They've been the same since the App Store was invented.
And those terms are also the same terms at Amazon, at Google.
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. You think you're special just because you're Epic Games and now all of a sudden you're a massive video game developer so you get different treatment? I mean, come on. Like, grow up. Put your game back on.
I agree with you. I think that Apple is in the right here. I think Epic is getting greedy. I just think Epic timed this perfectly because there's a lot of like not goodwill towards Apple right now.
Right.
And with wanting to see things change with the kind of the whole Project X Cloud and everything. So, I mean, they timed it right. You never know. Apple could cave. Apple could give into pressure. They could change terms of services. Something could happen. I doubt it.
Yeah, me too.
I doubt it, but you never know. You never know.
Yep. We'll see.
Speaking of another tech company,
Okay.
I've got a little something for you. You may not have seen this. I saw this right before we started recording, and my eyes just lit up. Matt, you're an Android. You're an iOS guy.
Yes.
So you probably don't have this app. I don't have this app because I'm just using the default Google Maps.
Yep.
But I may go give the old application Waze a try.
Oh.
Waze is, it's a different
Super
driving
popular.
app. Super popular. Right now through October 31st, if you go and you have Waze will let you, the driver, use Kevin Conroy's voice, who is the voice of the animated Batman, as your personal navigator beginning today. You can have Bat freaking Man
Oh my gosh.
navigating your turn-by-turn directions. Not only that, but you can also choose, if you'd like, to have the Batman Arkham-era Riddler, Wally Wingert, as your navigation voice. You can choose Batman or the Riddler.
Nice.
You also can swap out your little car icon in the Waze app for a mini version of the Batmobile or the Riddler's racer.
Okay. See, that's what I was waiting for. I'm opening up my phone right now.
Yep.
And I'm downloading this. I know that my car supports Waze.
Here's one other thing, Matt. And this,
oh my gosh, there's more.
This never ends. The goodness is amazing.
Okay.
You also can use a curated Spotify playlist depending on which character you've chosen. And the playlists are called Drive with Batman or Drive with the Riddler. And the playlist will feature memorable soundtrack cuts from the masters like Prince, Hans Zimmer, and Danny Elfman as you're driving around.
Danny Elfman.
Matt, I don't use GPS navigation. I live in Utah where like the grid system is a thing. If you know one of your cardinal directions and the grid system, you don't need a map. You don't need GPS. But you better believe that tonight, as soon as we're done recording, I'm downloading Waze and I'm going to use it for the next 2 months because on October 31st, it will go away.
Oh man, see that's just sad.
It is
that's
sad.
Just
I'm
sad.
hoping that changes and then maybe that'll become like a paid thing that you can always keep or something. But they're trying to time it with DC, kind of with the fandom, because coming up here on September 19th is DC's annual homage to all things Batman. They call it Batman Day. It coincides with their celebration of Batman, not necessarily the first comic book appearance of Bruce Wayne, but it's that's kind of the reason they're doing this. They're saying that also the Batman experience on Waze will be available globally in English, Spanish, and Portuguese.
Oh, wow.
So it is not just a United States thing. So
yeah.
I love this. I like my eyes popped when I saw this. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I can't download it at the moment right now because of other things I've got kind of going on my phone. But the moment the moment this podcast is over, I'm putting that on my phone because
awesome.
I want Batman to tell me where to go. I want to listen to the Batman soundtrack on Spotify. And I want to see my little car icon as the Batmobile as I drive around town. I'm going to use it to navigate to grocery stores and the kids' school. All these places are just right down the road that I've driven them out a million times. Oh, no.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to have to put in like, yes, Batman, please direct me to the kids' school. I mean, I have to.
It's so cool. That's so awesome. Oh my gosh.
This is where the nerd, the geek inside of me just like, I'm tingling with delight. I'm just so excited.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I had. I saved the best for last. I just heard. Was that Batman?
Yeah, I'm activating it. I just downloaded it, and I like pushed directions like, I gotta get this away from the microphone. But now you can hear it, everybody. Let's see if I try this. And I go now. Oh, look. I can confirm it does work.
It is there.
That the Batmobile shows up, and you just heard the voice. I'd have to actually start moving right now, but I'm not going to. It works. It's awesome. I'm going to use that app forever now. Thank you, Waze. Thank you, Spencer, for bringing that to my attention.
You are welcome.
I've got one last thing that also is just a bit of nostalgia.
Okay. Hit me.
So we talked a couple months ago that the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is getting a reboot of sorts, executive produced by Will Smith on HBO Max. Now, there will be a reunion episode of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Episode might not be fair. A reunion of Will Smith and his castmates from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Being recorded on September 10th. There's no release date for it, but it's being recorded like really, really soon.
Okay.
And it will air on HBO Max, of course.
Sure.
And the HBO has said that the special will include special guests, music, and dancing. There will be DJ Jazzy Jeff, so don't you worry.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll see lots of other people and characters pop in and out. It sounds like a good time.
You know what the dancing's going to be, right?
I hope it's the Carlton.
It's got to be the Carlton.
Yeah, that's the only thing they're going to do.
That's the most famous dance that came out of that show. That it's used in Fortnite. I mean, not on iOS, but I mean, it's used on Fortnite everywhere else.
Yeah, so I imagine this will be similar to what the Friends reunion was going to be before COVID kind of messed with everything and everyone was, it'll probably be them reminiscing of sorts. I think it'd be more of just a fun time than it will be, like a Where Are They Now episode.
Sure.
So anyway, pretty cool, pretty exciting. It's fun to see, Will Smith getting back together with all of his... I love it when the big name will come back to do something with everybody else. Like, it was thrilling for the community table read to learn that Donald Glover was going to be reuniting with everyone, because we'd always heard he's too busy or maybe he's too cool for it now. But, you realize that's just not the case. And Will Smith obviously feels the same way about The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith is one of the biggest actors in the entire world ever. And it's just fun to see people go back to kind of their roots and where they started and give appreciation to those fans and their programs director, all that. It's awesome. So anyway, should be fun. We'll have more info shortly, probably.
I love that. All right. Well, that's the last thing. I'm out. That was the last thing we had, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh man. Last week, Matt, we talked about the DC fandom.
Yes.
We talked about that event, and I gotta say, I've been thinking a lot about that this whole last week.
Yeah, it was kind of awesome.
There was a lot of good stuff. And we asked our super friends what was something that stuck out to you, and we wanted to hear from you. And of course, we have some answers. We are going to start over on the email like we always do, fortofnerd@gmail.com. We have Peter Christensen. He says, "Dear nerds, that intro sounded like you had brain trauma and had to relearn how to speak."
Ouch.
Wow. Hey, Peter.
Good.
Tell me how you really feel there, pal.
Well, good thing we went back to normal this week. Yikes.
That's so awesome. He says, "I spent the last week in Utah. Despite being a grown man, I worked all week from my mom's basement while my kids had a great time with their grandmother before school starts next week. I've been putting off a deluge of emails for my kids' 3 different schools, so I have to cram for that on Sunday. 3 kids, virtual schools, and 2 parents working from home is going to bring Comcast to their knees." Speaking of which, Matt, last week, I got the old email from Comcast that says, "You've gone over your data cap."
Oh, you have a data cap still?
Okay.
In 2020?
Almost all ISPs actually have a data cap, but it's usually like a terabyte or 1.2 terabytes. Yeah, I went over the 1.2 terabytes.
Oh my gosh.
All the streaming, all the streaming like Breed and I normally do, like watching stuff. And then I was streaming on Twitch, and then the kids are on their tablets and this. So yeah. Now with them being back in school, some days of the week, and maybe being at the hangout and doing the daycare like that. Hopefully we're going to start getting back to a little bit. But I hit the data cap for the first time ever.
Wow.
Ever. Anyway. I don't know that we're going to be driving Comcast to their knees, but I think they're going to push me to my knees and make me pay whatever they want. Anyway. Peter says, I have AirPods, the AirPod Pros. It does the same things you described about your Google headphones. It's truly wonderful. The wireless is enough of a benefit, but the auto-reading text messages is just a icing on the cake. Which
nice.
it is true. Like, I got a text message from you the other day, and I had the little alert, and I just kind of held to the side of my thing. It was like, text message from Matthew Shaw. And then it read me the text message, like, would you like to leave a response? I was like, yes, I would.
Nice,
and I just dictated it, and it was like, this is what we're sending. Press this to send. I was like, I like that. Completely hands-free.
Cool.
Peter goes on and says, Olivia Wilde has been in a broad range of movies, so I think she has a lot of perspective that can add to Spider-Woman. And although I didn't see Booksmart, I read an essay saying that it should have been the Mean Girls of this generation. So if she was involved with it, that's high praise. My tiny bit of video game feedback. A high school friend of mine is a writer on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Wait a minute.
Wow, cool.
I'm going to read that again. A high school friend of mine is a writer on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Peter, let's talk later. I know a podcast that would probably be interested in interviewing and talking with your high school friend. He says, also, I put the 2016 Suicide Squad movie in the same bucket as the Star Wars sequels. A C+ to B-. Movies that are reviled because they missed devoted fans' expectations. I'm totally fine carrying over the actors from that movie. They weren't the problem. That movie's problem came from the writing and editing, and James Gunn is the cure for those ailments. Now just make sure that the Juggalo Joker doesn't sneak back in. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed.
Agreed. 1,000%. I'm not sure about Kristen Wiig playing if you're not sure about Kristen Wiig... Matt, pay attention.
Yeah, he's talking to me. I get it.
Matt.
I'm still not sold. I don't like it.
Matt, hear the man
Okay,
out.
sorry.
Hear the man
Okay, Peter,
out.
go ahead.
If you're not sure about Kristen Wiig playing a serious role, she played a good straight man as the NASA administrator of The Martian. She was similar to Walter Peck from Ghostbusters, but she didn't win. That is true. She does play a very kind of straight-laced
I haven't seen The Martian
character in The Martian
since it came out.
Go watch
I don't even know she was in it.
Go watch it. Recognize that she was pretty amazing in it for what she did. And then, you can come around to seeing the fact she might be great.
Look, The Martian's a big movie, and ain't nobody talking about her character, okay? That's all I'm going to say. I didn't even know she was in the movie. That can't be good.
That means that she was so good that she didn't stand out to you like a thorn in your side?
I guess that's true.
See?
I mean, why not? There's some good positive way to look at it. I like it.
Listen to the man, Peter. He knows what he's talking about.
All right.
I'm going to repeat that again, Matt. I'm just teasing. Okay, he says, my middle daughter is into late 90s, early 2000s emo music. And so she enjoyed the memes talking about how emo Batman is and how Robert Pattinson looked like the lead singer of My Chemical Romance with his full guy liner. Other than that, I agree with your evaluation of the trailer for The Batman, and I'm excited for this movie. Overall, DC fandom sounded like a great event that far exceeded expectations. The Batman, plus the Suicide Squad game, because I'm happy for my friend, is a sweet 1-2 punch. Cheers, Peter Christensen.
Nice.
And then he goes on to say...
Oh, never mind. He's got more.
P.S.
Of course.
Spencer, I thought you weren't a fan of Henry Cavill as Superman.
What? I'm not a fan of Henry Cavill as Superman.
Matt's not a fan.
I don't even like Superman because of Henry Cavill.
I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I just wasn't very happy with the Man of Steel movie. I didn't think it was bad, but I once again said this, and you got to remember, this was hot off the heels of the Dark Knight trilogy with Christopher Nolan, that when they did Man of Steel and the Nolans were involved with that they kind of kept it dark and it was more broody than Superman usually is. I wasn't a fan of that movie per se. I didn't like some of the things they did. Superman is bright. He is hopeful. He is a beacon for truth, justice, and the American way. But he is like the golden boy. Don't try to make it out dark. So like the movie, no. His portrayal though, I really like Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yeah, nice.
So
nice. I just want to give a shout out to the shout out that he gave to 90s and 2000s emo rock bands. My Chemical Romance, Newfound Glory, Yellow Card. Like, that's good stuff. Your middle daughter has good taste in music. Brings me back to high school.
If only you would listen to Peter about Kristen Wiig.
I won't, but his middle daughter's got some good taste in music.
Okay, thank you, Peter. We appreciate your email. Let's roll over to Facebook. Over on Facebook, we've got Ryan Kubacki. He says, very torn between the Gotham Knights and the Suicide Squad video games. The plot hooks for both of them had me drawn in instantly. If I had to pick one, I'd say I'm more excited for Gotham Knights since it's further along, but overall, I'm excited for almost everything they announced. It is about time for DC to get its act together more. They kill it with their animated stuff, but so many of their movies have fallen short to me. I want to add that I'm very hesitant to watch the Snyder Cut of Justice League because to me, the only movie worse than the theatrical release of it was Batman v Superman. I almost had to walk out of the theater during that one. The Snyder Cut should be an improvement, but I will probably wait until all 4 parts are out and I hear some reviews before deciding to invest my time into it at this point. Hello from a new listener, excited to be along for the ride.
Nice. Welcome, welcome. Great comment.
Ryan, we're glad to have you as a super friend.
Yeah, I think he's right. I haven't really thought about it because I don't pay attention to the animated stuff, but when you hear about animated superheroes and stuff, DC's always...
all their stuff is good.
Good.
All their stuff is good.
I mean, anyway, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that because I'm not into it, I guess, but sure. That makes sense. Yeah, anyway,
yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like that. All right, going over to Twitter. We've got Sleepy Paul at pcalico84. Paul says, the Batman game looked freaking sweet. So I'm assuming he means Gotham Knights. He says, Wonder Woman 84 new trailer revealed Cheetah, all beasted out and looking pretty good. The Batman movie looks really dark. Suit looks like an updated Nolan Bale suit.
I mean... yes, to all of that's true. The way you read the beast part made me laugh, though.
Oh, beasted out.
Yeah. I hope that was the inflection that they intended.
I don't know, but I'm gonna say that's what he what he intended.
You get to interpret it.
I mean, I heavily interpret Peter Christensen's emails from time to time.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I like that, Paul. I agree. Wonder Woman 84 looked amazing. It was kind of cool finally seeing Cheetah go all cheetah because up to this point we haven't really seen it. Gotham Knights did look sweet. I'm not a fan, though, of that bat suit yet. I need to see it more. And admittedly, we've talked about how they've only filmed like 25-30% of that film and then COVID hit. So like maybe as I see it more, because we only see little bits of it, maybe it'll look better. Maybe it'll look better in the environments more and the action. And
well, what's good about it is it's not distracting, at least to me. That's what I don't like when I'm watching a superhero movie is when I'm distracted by the costume. That's when I go, I'm taken out of the experience a little bit. When I'm distracted by bat nipples or like super bright, crazy colors and like weird like things that seem just over the top.
So here's the thing, though. Like, one of the things I really love about a lot of the main DC heroes and villains is that their suits, their outfits are very iconic. I mean, Superman, if you rip the Superman symbol off his chest and it's just all blue there, it's not as good. That symbol is something. It means something. Same thing with the Batman symbol. Same thing with kind of like Wonder Woman's outfit, or like the Green Lantern symbol, or the Flash lightning bolt, like the Shazam lightning bolt, heck, from the Shazam movie. Like, there's just looks that their costumes look amazing. Like, if I go over to the MCU, if I'm being perfectly honest, like, Captain Marvel's outfit to me was boring. Like, okay, it looked kind of cool-ish in the sense that, like, you know, I don't know. It kind of looked like a...
It wasn't cool. You don't have to defend it. It wasn't cool.
It's not good, but it's like...
It's fine,
It's kind of like,
cool.
It kind of had some thematic colors and whatnot. And it looked very generic.
Yeah, it was generic.
Whereas, like, normally the Superman suit, the Batman suit, Green Lantern, the Flash, Aquaman, like, their suits stand out, right? Spider-Man obviously stands out. Captain America stands out. Iron Man, obviously, because he's wearing the suit. But, like, you start kind of getting to a point where they kind of start getting a little muddied and muddled. And he's like, okay, so that's Iron Patriot, and that one's Warhammer, and that, like, but they all kind of look too similar. Or, like, Captain Marvel's suit, for me, just kind of was like just kind of a generic suit. Same thing with Ant-Man. Ant-Man's suit to me is just kind of and I get it. It's not about his suit. He doesn't have to have a flashy suit. I get it. Okay. Like, don't crucify me, but it doesn't stand out. It does, like, same thing with Doctor Strange. Like, it doesn't, to me, like, really stand out. Whereas, like, Captain America with the shield, like, that's iconic.
Right.
DC does some great iconic stuff. And so for me to see the bat suit not, for me, have that feel like it stands out and is iconic, I kind of went, I can swap the Daredevil suit from the Netflix series and paint it black and add a cape on, and I'm pretty much the same. So for me, it just it's not doing it. I want to give it more time.
I'm okay with that.
I want to give it more views. I've gone on way too long about how I'm not, like, sold on this yet.
Yep.
I have a problem, not you, Paul. That's on me. All right. El Mico at Gizpika says, and I have two tweets from him. They're the exact same thing, but one is a little different. So I'm going to read the one that's a little different because he had to correct it. He says, Bad Guy Rock as Black Adam is exciting. He was a great heel in the WWF. That Batman trailer plays in my head at least twice a day. And I added Something in the Way to my current playlist as well. And that Suicide Squad had me hype until I saw that 2020 date. Hashtag Harley Quinn is bae. It was the hashtag that he needed to fix.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, man, everybody's loving this DC fandom, how awesome it was. A lot of good stuff. His mentioning of The Rock as Black Adam reminds me, this is completely off topic. Again, sorry about all the tangents today, Super Friends, but not that sorry. We watched Jumanji 2 this week. I forgot to mention that. And it was, Jumanji 3, I guess. And it was, like, so good.
Not Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, but Jumanji...
The Next Level.
The Next Level, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was, like, really great.
Yeah?
That's all.
Yeah,
Just wanted to point that out. I liked it more than the reboot.
Gotcha.
I really, really, really liked it. It was really funny. Well done.
Nice.
Anyway, moving on.
Nice. Yeah. So, Super Friends, before we get way sidetracked, thank you so much for your answers this week. We appreciate it. We always enjoy our interactions with you. Matt, how can our Super Friends help us out this week?
Well, thank you again, as always, for listening, for liking, commenting, subscribing, whatever it is that you do on the chosen platform that you choose to listen to us and soon watch us on. Thanks for your interactions. This week, just continue to do what you do. Love each other, be kind, try to find the good in everything, even though I don't. I'm not a great example of that. But hey, apparently Kristen Wiig can do things like serious acting, but I'm a skeptic. This week, because this just came to me, if you have not watched Jumanji: The Next Level, go watch it. if you think it's going to be more of the same of that Jumanji reboot, it is in all the best ways, but not in also all the best ways. You will like it. If you liked that reboot, you'll also like this one. Probably as much, if not more. I really, really enjoyed it.
I would also say go back and watch The Martian and look for Kristen Wiig's amazing performance that doesn't stand out negatively in any way, shape, or form.
That's true. Hey, if you want to be a middling actor or actress, don't stand out.
No, but now she's going to stand out for all the right reasons. As
I like it. I hope you're right, man. I love Wonder Woman, so let's hope you're right.
There you go. There you go. All right, Matt. Super Friends may be listening to this and going, they missed something in Rebel Intelligence, something really, really big.
Yeah.
We obviously did not miss it. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about this, but we figured that we wanted to talk about this a little bit more than just kind of in passing during Rebel Intelligence. Friday night, as I was streaming, I was, of course, playing Fall Guys, and I had a bunch of Super Friends hanging out in the chat, watching me, interacting, and one of the Super Friends passed along some information that at first I couldn't believe, and I didn't believe, and I asked other Super Friends to go verify it because I just couldn't believe that was true. And the message was that Chadwick Boseman, the actor that plays Black Panther, King T'Challa, had died. And of course, like, this is happening, while I'm streaming. I said, hey, can someone look that up? Did that really happen? Or is this Super Friend just, messing with me a little bit? Because that's fine. Like, you mess with me. Like,
right.
I'm good natured. I'll take it and we can laugh. But of course, this is something that, like, obviously is kind of in our realm of interest. And this seemed like it was coming out of the blue. And unfortunately, Super Friends, that's true. And it was confirmed. The Associated Press was the ones that passed the information on. And I want to read, first of all, the tweet that came out from his account. And obviously this comes from, family, friend, someone close to him, because obviously he didn't write this himself. But the tweet says, "It is with immeasurable grief that we confirm the passing of Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2016 and battled with it these last 4 years as it progressed to stage 4. A true fighter, Chadwick persevered through it all and brought you many of the films you have come to love so much, from Marshall to Defy Bloods, August Wilson's May Rainey's Black Bottom, and several more. All were filmed during and between countless surgeries and chemotherapy. It was the honor of his career to bring King T'Challa to life in Black Panther. He died in his home with his wife and family by his side. The family thanks you for your love and prayers and asks that you continue to respect their privacy during this difficult time." I feel very personally saddened by this. Chadwick was only 43 years old. He was 2 years older than me, at most.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that when he was diagnosed and when he found out he had a problem, he was already at stage 3. That's, that's not easy. Colon cancer is rough. It is not something that is maybe, I don't want to compare it to other cancers, because all cancers are bad and all cancers are life-threatening. But colon cancer can be a rough one, right? Because the colon interacts with so many other systems throughout the body, and
right.
It's easy, it's kind of, part of that highway, they say, that kind of like runs through your body of all these kind of like critical systems. But to know that while he was going through this, all of this, he was keeping it from everyone. and he was just going about his work and his life's work, trying to bring joy and happiness to others.
Yeah, this was that was like you. I was shocked. I hopped on the internets and I would just visibly and audibly gasped, and Jesse was like, "What? What?" And I said, "Chadwick Boseman, who plays Black Panther, died."
Yeah.
And there was, it was really, really sad. What's so interesting to me, and what I love so much about him, is the impact that he had in such a short span.
Yes.
Like, we're talking, nobody knew much about him. I can't speak for everyone, right? Nobody knew who he was, but I will say very few people probably knew who he was before 42.
Yep, I agree.
Which came out in 2013. And that's an awesome movie.
Oh.
I love 42. And he was so good in that movie. And you could just tell he has this look about him where you're like, this guy was meant to be an actor and to tell stories, because he's just got this, there's just aura about him where you're just sucked in and you believe him, and he puts this passion into his work. And as he continued to get, acting roles, it was fun to watch him progress and tell more important stories, particularly Black stories, Black American stories, where we were seeing, these important stories like 42, like Marshall, and of course, going on to Black Panther. But it's amazing to me that in that short span from, let's say, 2013 at the earliest, right? He wasn't even big after 42, I would say. But let's just say at 42, he got known. I mean, that's 7 years.
Yeah.
And he became iconic, absolutely massive, to the point where as he passes, we're getting messages from, the Denzel Washingtons, the former president Barack Obama. I mean, people that he had touched, people that, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Well, look at some of these roles that he chose to take in his career, right? I mean, I think if you go back far enough, and in his career, he's got like a little one-offs here and there in television shows, but his first real big breakout role was playing Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson is obviously, if you don't know this, but famous for breaking the color barrier in baseball. He was the first Black player to play in the major leagues. This was before so much of the country was desegregated. And he stopped playing in the Black baseball leagues and was brought to the majors. And then, of course, he just destroyed as a player. He was just amazing. But Chadwick Boseman played that character. And Jackie Robinson is a very, very important historical figure, not just for that community, I would say, but for the world. But what's interesting, and I don't know if you know this, I saw this, that when Chadwick Boseman died on Friday, it was actually the day that baseball reserves, that they call Jackie Robinson Day, when they honor Jackie Robinson's memory, and everyone wears the number 42 that day. And he died on that day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the grand scheme of things, does that mean much? I don't know, but it just happens to be a very interesting coincidence, because he portrayed that character and brought that character to life. Then he went on and portrayed James Brown in Get On Up.
Yeah.
And James Brown, obviously, is a fantastic, phenomenal entertainer, but a very flawed human being. And Chadwick went on to play that. And I saw that movie, and I thought he did a fantastic job in that role.
Yeah.
And then, of course, besides, and we'll get to the Black Panther stuff, but he played Thurgood Marshall in the movie Marshall. Thurgood Marshall is this, icon of law, who ends up becoming, who was a civil rights lawyer who ends up becoming a Supreme Court justice. And so, Chadwick took that role. He was playing the roles of King T'Challa, the Black Panther, when he was sick.
Yeah.
He understood what he was doing. And we're hearing all these stories. Matt, I heard a story that Chadwick was going in to cancer hospitals and talking with patients that were there that were really struggling, while never divulging that he was going through cancer treatment and that he was struggling with it. But he would go there and he would try to be, a comfort, something for these people that were struggling. At the same time, he was going through this. I think anyone, first of all, I think anyone that uses their celebrity for good is, I think that's a wonderful thing, right? We have these stories of when Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans were going into hospitals dressed up as, Tony Stark and Captain America. Right. But Chadwick Boseman was doing the same thing for kids as the Black Panther, as King T'Challa, and not telling anyone also that he was struggling with this, and that, he had to have known at that point that the outcome wasn't looking good.
Right. Yeah.
There's just something about that just strikes home with me that says that there's something very noble and very, I don't even know what the word is I want to use, very honorable, very
yeah,
I don't know, noteworthy, something we should look up to and remember that as in our own personal lives, as we should try to be bringing light and goodness into the hearts of other people, that we can still even do that while we may be going through our own personal tragedies.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's his story, and particularly when he's going, when he's got this cancer that's eating him up, he just seemed, I don't know. I think humble is the word that I would use. He just seemed like a very humble individual, and he carried himself in this. I mean, I know that obviously Black Panther is literally about royalty, but he carried himself in such a royal, regal way, like a lion or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just cool, this humble man who has these stories he wants to be a part of, and the way he interprets his characters and portrays them. And so I did not know the story, but in light of recent events, it's resurfaced, and he actually told this story in 2019, and I'll recount it here. This has to do with our good friend Denzel Washington, and apparently, in back in the day when Chadwick Boseman was in college, he'd been accepted to the British American Drama Academy's Midsummer program along with 8 other students, and the famed actress Felicia Rashad was in charge of teaching them. And she was informed that these 9 students who were accepted to the program would not be able to attend because they didn't have the money. And she just thought that's unacceptable. And she called Denzel Washington and said, "This is my problem." And Denzel said, "I've got money. I will pay for their program." And Chadwick Boseman happened to be one of these individuals who basically had their tuition for that time paid for by Denzel Washington.
Wow.
And in 2019, Denzel Washington was selected to receive the American Film Institute's Lifetime Achievement Award, and Chadwick Boseman was the one who presented the award. And so it was cool. I watched his speech today where he recounts the story that Denzel didn't know who he was. Obviously no names were given, but
Sure.
He paid for his education. and he talks about kind of the legacy of Denzel Washington, particularly as a Black American actor, and being, just so great in what he did. And he ends it by saying there is no Black Panther without Denzel Washington. And he's right. These incredible Black actors before him paved the way so that the Black Panther story could be told, and could be told in a way where everyone in the world watched it.
Yeah.
Because you could have released Black Panther 20 years ago, and I don't know that it would have been what we got, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know that it would have broken records and been a box office success. I don't know, as sad as it is, I don't know that Black voices and stories were being highlighted like they are now. And anyway, it was cool to kind of hear that story, just little connections that you didn't know before. And Denzel, of course, is devastated that he now has to basically make a tribute to Chadwick Boseman as he's passed. But you hear all these stories. There's not a lot of controversy. There's no controversy that I'm aware of surrounding Chadwick Boseman as a person in his personal life. Nothing. I mean, he was a happily married guy.
Yeah, had a family, had 2 kids.
Yeah, you just don't hear anything bad about him, and that's a tribute to your character. And so it's devastating.
I think. I mean, obviously, when someone passes in Hollywood unexpectedly, people that worked with someone that passes away, they come out of the woodwork, and there's been so many glowing, wonderful tributes by actors, actresses, directors, producers, everyone. I've never heard one bad thing about Chadwick from anyone. And honestly, I hope I never do.
Right.
Something I did find really, really touching was that ABC. So ABC already has all their programming already planned, right?
Yeah.
Chadwick passes away Friday afternoon, early evening.
Yeah.
And ABC immediately, but like on Saturday, had changed and said that on Sunday night that they were going to air Black Panther on TV.
Commercial free
in a way to show a tribute to Chadwick, and then at the end of that they were going to show some some memorials, some messages from people that knew Chadwick or worked with Chadwick. And I just love the fact that ABC did that, because I think it's one thing to say, like, hey, Black Panther was one of the biggest movies of all time at the box office, that it did amazing and that so many people went out and saw it. But to say that, like, hey, not only did we love this person as an individual, we also recognize how important this role was to the Black community. And we just lost this actor who is important to that community. And that community's had a rough 2020. That there's a lot of things going on in this world that right now is just very difficult. And this probably just feels like one additional thing added on. And that ABC's like, we're going to do something. We're going to put this on ABC, which is an over-the-air broadcast. Like, so if you have cable, you can obviously get it. If you have satellite, you can get it. But if you had a TV with a pair of bunny ears, it's on ABC. You can pick that up almost anywhere in the country. And they played it. And of course, like, it had amazing ratings. People tuned in to watch this and see this. I really like that. I like that they did that.
Yeah. It made it, it was important to do that, I think. And they made, I don't know, I agree with you. It was a really cool decision, and it was good to see it, because though he was young and we were yet to see I feel like his career unfold, that he had so much more left in him, but that we appreciated all of his roles. But let's be honest, his perhaps most important role from a global scale being that of Black Panther. I mean, the amount of kids out there who can now watch, some of the biggest movies, and Black Panther, one of the biggest movies ever made, and say, he looks like me.
Yeah.
Like that is so powerful and so cool. And it's something that you and I can't relate to.
Yes, exactly.
We've always had someone who says, hey, he looks like me.
Right.
He looks like me too. Oh, she looks like me.
Yeah.
And they look like me. It's cool which is why it's so cool to see all these movies coming out and TV shows where we're finally getting a lot of diversity in our programming. But the story of Black Panther being so cool, so powerful, so massive, that the implications go far beyond just that it was a great movie directed by a great Black director. Let's not forget that as well, that the whole cast was just incredible. But that it was a cultural moment for the world. And he just killed it in that role.
Yeah.
And he exemplified that role in his personal life, and how grateful we are for that. Because sometimes you've got great people who play a really powerful role who suck in real life.
Yeah.
And it's always cool to know this guy was for real. And he took his role of King T'Challa, Black Panther, so seriously. He knew what it meant. And it was just cool. And it was cool to see ABC do that. Jesse and I caught a little bit at the end of Black Panther, and then what they did with the 2020 is what they called it, the tribute.
Yeah.
It was cool. I mean, they had a bunch of people on there, Robert Downey Jr. and other people who knew him personally, and they talked about the Denzel story and stuff. So it was great, great to see. But now, moving forward, you look and you say, well, what's next for Marvel, because they lost a great human being.
They lost a giant of a human being.
And they lost one of their pivotal key pieces moving forward in the MCU, being not just the character Black Panther, but the individual who plays Black Panther, his version of Black Panther. So it will be interesting, kind of to see moving forward what's going to happen.
Like, no offense to Jeremy Renner, because this is going to sound like a slam on Jeremy Renner, but if the MCU needed to replace Hawkeye, they could recast that role, and I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
No, it's easy.
But Chadwick Boseman was Black Panther, one of the big stars, and was going to be one of the tent poles that the next phase of the MCU, that the next few phases of the MCU was going to be built around.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that Black Panther 2 was already into pre-production. They were starting to work on this. Obviously, that's going to be shutting down. There's no way that stays going forward, because they just lost their main actor. So, you could swap out a Jeremy Renner. I don't think you can swap out anyone for Chadwick.
No, I agree. However, I disagree about them shutting down Black Panther 2.
You think they can still go forward?
I definitely think they move forward with Black Panther 2. I think they have to rewrite a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay. Well, I think they're going to shut down pre-production and send the writers back to go rewrite. I don't think that they're going to be still looking for locations and trying to line up effects, and because they're not going to know what it's going to look like.
Sure. And I don't disagree with you. I also don't know how much somebody like Ryan Coogler knew. I don't know if there was any information given to him prior to Chadwick's passing, meaning no one was really privy to the fact that he was battling cancer.
Yeah, no one.
I don't know if it literally means no one, or if somebody like Ryan Coogler was given a heads up because they were good friends, and they were moving forward with Black Panther 2. I don't know. It will be interesting to see. I still think we see a Black Panther movie going forward in the next 5 years. We see Black Panther 2.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe, because it depends, right? I know that there's a big movement after Black Panther came out that they said, like, we need to give his sister Shuri her own movie or something to do that's like more important because she's bad A, she's really smart. And so like they could find a way to write the character of Black Panther, King T'Challa, out and pivot to her. I mean, I think that could be a doable thing, but I don't want to see them recast.
No, I agree completely. I don't think they will.
I hope not. I hope that at the end of the day, they look at this and they say, only one person could be this. Similar to like how Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark in the MCU. Move on from that character or continue to pay Robert Downey Jr. whatever it takes to reprise the role if you need that role in a film. If you need that role. I don't think that they should recast. I think that they should find a way to either move on or to just like let it be what it was and write that character out in some way. I hope they don't just like drop it all completely. I think maybe going on with Shuri and the whole Wakanda, because there's so many other ideas and so many other things that can be there that can still be massively important in that universe and also massively important as a symbolic as a symbol for a lot of people in the world right now.
Yeah, I think if you don't make Black Panther 2, you let down Black America.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't do that. So, in my opinion, they move forward, and I think you're right. The sister is a natural fit, but I think there are other ways that you could make a really interesting Black Panther 2. Maybe it's about the difficulty of moving on and the sudden loss of their king, and how do we get past this? And maybe I don't know. I don't know what the movie is. I don't know how you tell the story, but I think that Black Panther has already set the precedent of being groundbreaking. Why not make Black Panther 2 groundbreaking and make it a black female who becomes the next Black Panther, and a story, that's also yet to be told. Yeah. So I like you really hope they don't recast. I can't imagine they would. And I really hope that they don't abandon Wakanda. I don't see them doing that either. I think we get a Black Panther story. I think Ryan Coogler is too savvy and too smart, and Kevin Feige is too savvy and too smart to just let it go.
Yeah.
And I think you need to pay homage and tribute to Chadwick Boseman instead of just glossing over it in one of the Avengers movies saying, "Hey, where's Black Panther?" I don't know.
Right.
I mean, there's something cool that you could do, something powerful that you could do, like as Tony Stark dies, that's a powerful moment and monument. I think there's something you can do there with Chadwick Boseman's character as well.
I agree. I mean, to me, it
sucks though.
To me, yeah, this is such a horrible thing for him, for his family, and everything, and kind of like as far as like where the MCU is, like I'm sure they'll figure it out, but like right now because this is so fresh and so new with his passing, like there's more questions than there will be answers, and probably will be for a while, and. That's just kind of how, unfortunately, how sadly sometimes life is. So, I mean, the question I want to ask the Super Friends this week is, what do you think they do? Do you think they recast, or do you think that they move on without Chadwick and find a way to tell a different story, but that it will also be something that would honor him? I want to hear from you, so you let us know at all the normal places: the email, the Facebook, the Twitter, Discord, Instagram, voicemail, and we'll talk about that next week. But before we want to sign off, I mean, obviously our thoughts, our prayers go out to Chadwick's wife and to children, to his family, to his friends, and to Black America, the people that all the people that, loved Chadwick, and that, that he held a special place in their hearts. Matt and I have both lost people in our lives. We understand that pain, and we have empathy for you as you go through this, and know that your suffering and heartache is not forgotten, and that we feel that with you. Matt, I know it's kind of a sad thing, and we kind of ended on that, but once again, it's always an honor and a pleasure to be here with you each and every week, and
yes.
I look forward to doing it again next week. And tonight, as we sign off, I'm going to do it a little bit differently than we normally do, and I'm just going to say, Wakanda forever.